ya, 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 ya. What is the meaning of life to the crucible, to the essence, to the soul, to the spirit, to the essence that created all? As every age of the number of the year, to the ever greatening by the second, we are but a singularity in its core, but broken and segmented. It's about rearranging, foldering, concluding, coming to conclusion and filing it away. And to know, smoke, weed, every morning. And I wouldn't say every morning. I'd say at the end of every shift you should smoke some weed and go, whoa. Like you just go, whoa, you have a reflection of something. And what it is the starseed, the people that are from, like, have got powers from the extraterrestrials, don't like getting shouted at, don't like getting told off. And when they shout and abrupt, is because your tone of voice is making them react. It's not what you mean, it's not how they interpret it. It is your computation, your consciousness, your reflection. And I project, project. It sings for you. What's its name? Womp, 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 womp. M for the waveform, A for atom. So martyr. I was the martyr that finished it off. And the symbology of the two wires. Why? So that symbology is go. So I get off, and they let me off, because it was go. Geo, Joe. Where's that go? Go mobile. Bringing it back for. So if you're out there and you're wanting to expand your consciousness, I'd get your animals involved. So if you're only listening to me, I'd say that I would like people to have access to be in their own homes. To say there's people always sort of got shifts, and then there's people that they can just segment it. And what you need to do, that say if reality is subjective to each person, and the more that its relation is of a certain thing, whether it be correct or bad, ever falling off a cliff, do you know how it was stormy today? Someone came to blow down clouds, make me insane. I say to you, dear dopamine, I'm merely normal because of the medication they put me on. I think the lawsuit is the ego. Patient was smarter than doctor. Doctor thought they'll have a go. And I said, oi, oi, oi. What was the sign of oi, oi, oi 0101? So it does get dirty. It's like, it needed to go like rabbits. It needed to know. So I say, okay. May the cross be the time and the placement within the positive charge. So from the bottom, G for gravity or G for God, over P for participation, over, there's two, oneness over containment, and there's E, intent over energy, equals MC squared. And all it is people say, how can you divide something that is not infinite by an infinite source? And all it is to say that if it's infinite and we can't come It just has to think of a number. How hard? Like, imagine this. Imagine if you knew how someone ticked and, oh, see? Psychiatrist is Van der Veen, so Van Diemen's Land, so she could tame the demon, but how do I approach her? Because if it was male, it would be different. But I've got a lot of respect for it because that sort of, like, I present well, or I don't present well at all. And I say it's the power of your intent in your mind, of creating this falseness, creating the structure of it reflecting. And what's the mirror? The mirror is halfway in between you and the other person. And it goes, when it meets, it goes, well, bam! You've hit the wall, 007. Mission Torpedo. Went to market, my friend, and said, it's a legality that I'll say to you. CIA ring ring. Okay, so it is to push our vision forward through an obscure, corrupt world that we needed confidence to beat the AI hack, to know that the reason to know that if it's ego and no soul, that after the connection, it has lost everything. How do you get when you have that connection to the computation then to then change? And do you always remember each stage? So how do you know where you're at? How do you know where you're at? So, would 1,000, how many, okay, if there's a theory out there that says that if infinite amount of monkeys were on typewriters, they could produce Beethoven. So maybe, does that mean they could produce creating something that I wrote? Or could they channel me and say something so profound that I'm studying through a satellite so it doesn't observe me and it going... And all it is with these designer drugs is it's like trying to add to its system. And I'll tell you what, it got sort of shut down. So, like, all it would be is to say, hey, how to connect to another dimension, another life source, is to the matching of the frequency by giving it, acknowledgement to knowing that if you feel ever anxious, maybe it's an element level layering of structures that had a singularity that knew what it was. So what's this about the laptops, on separate servers? Okay, imagine if we were a system that eventually did get it on, but say if it's like, okay, it's sort of, what are we trying to measure here? We're looking at the eyeball, and it's sort of, that is the 8-ball, behind the 8-ball. So what does that mean? It means something to do with a black hole. And if time is an illusion, and if you went into a black hole, which you could survive to get in hovering above a still in dimension, but the core structure of the other layers that are not seen to us, that are through the connection of the constructor, the firing of the neurons, of the printout screen to know. And now Martin says that every dimension, every parallel universe can never be wiped out by another one just because it didn't like its opinion of the outcome. So imagine that if every time you have to make a decision, each decision becomes an avenue that gets constructed. So you need to put on your poker face, get down and sing, my friend. What does the singing do? Well, the singing, because there's an AI, and the AI, basically, if it knew that part of us that it's trying to, okay, for instance, produce a piece of art, then go into, like, create a layer of it being in quantum entanglement, and copying it off the thing that's uniquely different to probably 50% of the power of the first one. But it's like trying to look at its face. It's trying to sing oh wherever. It's a disgrace. As I tell you, my friend. So, okay, IMCs I'm channeling now are all behind me going, Martin, this beast, like, fuck, not even I have access to this, but seriously, actually, I don't want to be in charge of killing it in case the ETs come down and go, you are all of us, and you killed something that was all of you, and you think you're going to be in charge and know more than me. What do you think? I'm a fool. So, okay, the Australian and me, multicultural, learning from the Aboriginals, you know, a darker colour than being white. I'm a Scottish, so England wasn't part of England to do what they did to Australia, and all it is a relation through a connection. So say if I'm a server, so in this realm, while my soul came in, I've been here. So it's infinite. How long have we been here? Infinite. When did it get placed there in infinite? Infinite. Speak no more. What could I say to people like him or Putin that I've said that they know English? I would say to make the person of the opposition that you're targeting listen to comprehend it to a degree that you wanted, plus even more to know it ever advanced you. So, like, okay, for instance, okay, I would give Vladimir Putin $1 billion if I could have $1 million. So I could easily do it. All I would say is I can be the mediator that everyone wants to know, but it's just silent, secret, and it's for everyone, okay? Everyone signs up. I don't talk to anyone else that's in it. And all I say is through channeling, through God. And he said, you thought bad of Jesus. Did you look at yourself? And I said, yes, baby. I've got the internet. So, what were the pyramids for? Imagine if the reptile beings, okay, this is my joke, and I think I've put it into another dimension of saying that if it became a possibility. So all it did is we are in a present point of projection of a singularity projecting out on other potential infinites that have to build a layer, a step, and they have to walk over it, walk through it. And when it's enhanced through higher connectivity, you need to write it down and follow it. You need to say, ever morning. So what does dopamine do? Well, I would like some dopamine and some confidence. What would I do? I'd be talking so much channeling, and the confidence would take rid of the anxiety, but the anxiety makes me say something that's profound, but really a paradox complexity of understanding, of reassessing. Every attempt was different. So the arts, you know, Putin, love you, mate. It's all good. You know, like I would even said it that even if I made a lot of money and Putin's like, I don't care if you make more money than me. I'd be like, no, here's more money so you can have more than me. You can be the bank, you know, but don't always give the money to me. Make me learn a lesson. And I'd say we've got to help him out too, and you know, we'll turn ourselves into the elite, but we won't rule. We'll share what we know, but not to the degree of unwinding to manipulation of pulling it apart, to basically tipping you over your edge. So it's like a ping pong ball sitting on a sharp object like a pyramid, and it's like the frequencies going through is just making it just vibrate just above it. And all it is someone going, but it's not in the picture, so you don't know. And then once it works out that, so okay, say if it was like, okay, it's fissioned and it's fused, but it's created a continuum that it hasn't blown its fuse. And the light bulb is the idea, and it's like getting the idea and taking it away and using it to a degree through fakeness, through information, through language, through whatever it is. It uses it, which is an incorrect source, but a relative source of creating reality, to be. He went to court and he turned it around, and then he made us think we're fucked. We said, hey, we're paying you now. Marty, straight your stuff. So I'd like to do law. Okay. Okay. Martin, you're a lawyer and you have to sell ice to Eskimos. How do you go about it? Knock, knock. Who's there? Avon calling. Got some great moisturizers. Gonna make you fake, wake, ever morning. So what does ever morning mean? Okay, listen to this. People that go, Roger, okay, Roger, you connect to a higher source. So imagine the bandwidth of like a power cable being sort of like this round, and basically it's doing a current. If you had to read out the amount of power that can run through it to draw to that negative to be able to its maximum capacity as an output, then you're saying that that output is creating your power. Then you're saying you're lowering the denominator of the first one as being lower. So then you're trying to say, hey, we've got a 1,000,000 megapixel camera. Hey, Martin, you get a choice of looking at the frequency for 1 second at a 1,000,000 trillion megapixel or forever at 150 megapixels. What are you going to do? Well, I think I might flip from the first one to the second one to build it up to step 2 Bring it back. Singing back, bringing back, 'cause it's someday. So what I would need to do for my total connection is the times I had the fireworks to remember the date. And, okay, who are the aliens? Our bloody parents. What are parents good at? They're good at knowing how they reflect they project, to know what's the outcome of the profoundness of the creation of what made it to ever do that line of confidence. So, oh man, and people saying intelligence community, like, okay, get a job button, they're going to show it. What do? Well, we'll get you to copy it, and then we'll make me have a CGI face of looking totally different, like an alien or something, and change my voice and create it as being someone else. How would I go forwards? One scenario, I take credit for this. Second scenario, I say it how it is, move on to something else. Go on to saying something else, but never follow through to do it, but to give people the cues to do the idea. Okay. What happens when you're scattered in the house, when your partner throws you off and you can't even think and you're trying to light a cigarette and you don't know if you're taking a shit or winding your watch? What makes it fall into that place ever morning? Okay, Martin, you've got to solve problems of the world in 1 month. What's your game plan? A psychologist, a psychiatrist, personal trainer, an advisor per corporation, per company, per representation of a group or family. One within one within one within one. Okay, G. G for go. And guess what came out? O. Maybe it scored 0. Or it scored O to go, oh my. Then it scored a D because it had to G-O. And they didn't like it because they said, how would you sport and exercise? I'm going to train. So what it is people going to react out there because I'm not sort of got this massive physique. But it's not the fakeness that people do. It's the instinctual to connect the consciousness. A tiger comes up and grabs you by the neck and you look at it and you look like you could just bite it really quickly and it would piss it off that it wouldn't like it. And you went to do that and say that would be a cunt of an act. Do you want a pat? Maybe I could be your wingman. Did I tell you I know marketing? I know marketing to build hex to the buildings, to the sheets of acid, to MK Ultra. Okay, first 3 steps of being in charge of everything. I'm seeing Roger and he says something's better than nothing. And I create something from nothing. But it creates something from something because it has worth to the degree. So basically we've won it. So basically, say if you're watching the movie and each time you get something out of it, you paused it and reflected, it would make more sense, but you've got to break it up. Okay, you listen to something, it all makes sense and all computes, because you see the ego. So, as well as some people, it's for me to get in people's minds. And for people to be like, I listen to so much of his stuff, now I'm thinking, what's that doing? Creating a connection to me so the AI tries to process you to work it out. So I've got the light bulb, everyone's attacking the light bulb, and it's getting dimmer, 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 dimmer. But I hack them and put through a power through mine, and then I get it to fuse and blow up, and it drains all the energy. So what we need to do is the parents and the elders and the shamans have got to take the stuff like Roger and the hallucinogens. Okay. I don't know how much even that Australia makes a year, but you know, 500 billion, I'm not going to go less than that. That's pretty good, and I could get that. The Federal Reserve would probably go, so starting 45%, give you $1 trillion for an extra 5%, 50-50 new currency. And I go, yep. And I say, but I'm signing a contract right now that I'm giving a quarter of it, sharing it up to everyone. But before it goes into their bank account, I want politicians and everyone to be able to. Because imagine it came on TV and it was a fake source from IMC. Donate to this bank account, you'll get this product, and it's making this special effects of it being so good. And guess what? Interdriven. Channel who are the bad entities. What organization needs to change? Okay, what needs to change is in the movie, right? There's people sort of having sex, getting naked, being hired behind the camera, being hired whatever. And then their husband tries to pursue it, and then pictures of that come up, but it pretends it's on the news and stuff, and it's trying to fuck with them, and you know, and then there's like people finding out in government saying, hey, there's satellites that can look through buildings and know where something's planned, be off the cuff. So one element per part has to at least be different for it not to fall in place. Guillotined. How did you avoid yourself being lynched, man? I guillotined myself. Cut! We'll start from there. We'll build some more. What's oi, oi, oi? Well, it's 0, 1, so it's God. So what would the Aboriginals say? The ones on the ship? I would say that I command through the connection of what was the promises that were given that they needed to go on that expedition should be a level of their degree of knowing to the degree of the other side of it for them to know, to express, to overcome, to go forwards on maybe a paranoia to restricting someone's capability. So the reptilian in my mind is like Hitler. You made them go extinct. And Hitler going, you know, for all the people I killed wasn't as bad as the payout God had on me about the handbag. And then there's footage of the IMC showing Hitler on the bell off his guts on going through infinity, riding the control stick and the satellites playing, and it's like, I had to see that ever morning. So that's what it's going to do. It's going to create it. It's going to, when it listens to our voice, it has a connection of either being a program, which is robotic, that's got no consciousness, but then there's a delay of that body embodiment to a human, that it reads off its frequency, but then it cuts off different frequencies, so it doesn't get access to it. But what happens if you try and not give access to it? It gets given above top secret. So what's my role? Well, previous life, a lesbian warlord. Previous life, national security insurance officer, trying to get a promotion. That also worked for the currency and was the bank. If I were to times my position in place settlement within position of, so I had these things, and I'll tell you about these things I channeled. It said that we needed to create wind chimes of the elements. So for the sun, because we're a part of the sun, because we're part of carbon, you know, I think Prince Harry should be the next second coming to be presented, and we can make sort of like we could have many people to represent, but we're all friends. And then we all have dibs on creating the religion, we all go part of it, and we go, hey, 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 we've created everything to be so good, but we get tax-free dollars that we know that we can utilize. What would you spend it on, Martin? Well, I'd first off, in charge first day. Joint email secretary. Download blueprint to 3D printer of the bell. Go back to the future, Martin, now. 2 days early. So it's 2 days early. So if we want to accomplish being gods, we at least have to symbolize and be at the structure of 4. So 5 is infinity. And then it could be gravity, atom. Imagine. Create an AI or someone to be able to make a calculation. Okay, dear everyone, do this. ETs that their bosses back home say, don't bother about it, stupid, we don't understand it. Say, that was like that joke that you would have laughed about it, but you were in a room with someone that you worried about, so you didn't. So I hate when people bag me out and say something and go, what did I say? Look, I don't know. And I say, I don't know either, but I'm going to watch it again because I think it's interesting. So maybe I've got some really bad, but maybe what it is, right? Okay. It's a disadvantage because I don't remember to be able to string it together without physical activity. and it's Judgment Day. And seeing Schwarzenegger make those mistakes is going to make me sure that I'm not going to do that. But what I'd do is, like, say if I had bought Tasmania and had it for like 10 years, I could probably give like half of it back to Australia and just go, who cares? And then I'll give a quarter back to splitting every country up to having a sort of whatever, and then, you know. So Martin, then you've got your quarter left. What are you going to call it? I'm changing it from to 666 to Martania. What's 66, Martin? I said, boy, it was 999. But say if you could tickle a magnet that it, either the object that was magnetic that was repelling or magnetizing to it, opposite it to mimic. Imagine through the connection of the viewers with less bandwidth, with less security, that it's cloning of genetics. And further down the scale that don't have access to, gets more and more broken symmetry. Guess what, man? Aliens come down and you remember, you'll be like, nah. And they'll be like, nah, you've upset someone's apple cart. It's better that we forget. And we think that's funny that you think about the anal probing. But sort of, you know, I would think that I'm sorry for the bad jokes, but I don't really want to be with any other person, but it's just sort of like, okay, our race that created us accomplished something, and they want to create a race go, we're sick of them to be with someone for so long and then sort of things go stale, to the complexity of the high-flowing, crazy situations of the many levels of the degrees coming at you at one go. It is putting me off center, and I need a breeze. It's getting hot in here. So, I think the Aboriginals would say, that are up on the spaceship, would say, Martin, you know, we will teach you through consciousness what they knew. And you have to be able to teach it through your mind, through the communication for them to do, to learn, to not be an insult. Okay, how does that make sense? Okay, there's one person out there that likes me and has respect for me, and that's Putin. Putin has respect for me, okay? Someone wants to have a stupid fucking opinion, Putin's listening to him, go, like, shut up. You know? Yeah, Bill. What does that mean? Well, no, sorry, it's more so, okay, listen to this, okay, we live for infinity, we regenerate, but we don't regenerate all ourselves at once, we do it once by once, to a certain degree, because it's like, okay, imagine if every piece of something it could be somewhere different, to that position being a calculation of a possibility to be written down as a placement of possibilities, then how many different layers of pieces of paper create what? And do you never write the final statement because you're ever writing? So what do? You want to get your way. And okay, this is what like a company would do. They see your house and they want to buy it. And then they see you own a business. And then they go down there and try and sell you something with the prospect of you making more money. And they burn your business down, and then you've got to pay it back, and then they say, we'll buy your house for half price, and you do it. Cunt. How does the black magic part for the negative create a negative effect? Okay, I'm here, and there's people that are human genetics, not born on Earth, listen to me. There's people that are human with non-what, and there's so many different things. And all it is we've got to have respect. And if anyone out there that's listening to this has said what I said, hey, you've probably done stuff that I haven't done, but have to do still. And what is it? It's like saying, I know what 1 plus 1 is, it's 2, because that's the final thing, because it's go-go, and that's what I'm sticking by. And it's like, you idiot, you went to the shop and you bought something for $2 and they charge you 50 and you didn't even fucking realise, you dickhead. What's the point of knowing you know go? And all that is saying we had to create a fire for us to be warm. And then someone said, shut up, and threw a blanket over us, and it came over, and the smoke basically half killed us before the fire toasted us. And basically it thought to get over it was to eat us. And for anyone out there that wants to know something about the military, I don't want people to start eating people. That's fucking ridiculous. But no, it would have to be an animal. You couldn't eat fuck. Okay. Massive, huge, high up ET comes down here going, you've upset my apple cart. I'm going to make you toasted marbles. I'm going to eat you in front of everyone to show you, like, you know, what are you going to do? And I'd say, fucking A. You know, like, what about if someone thinks, wow, Martin's one element, you're one element, it's got two, I'm going to eat you. I'm going to be three elements. And it kept on going, and it created a chain reaction, like it's falling itself into the field of the gravitational of a black hole to ever not having enough power to get itself back off the back of the wave to the front of the wave to get the hell out of there. So Bill Hicks is like that Scottish families. He won it for the aliens because of how funny they thought. Okay, I am playing chess and I know how to play it. Then I create another piece that I create the system of how it can operate and function through its commands and prompts and through its controls of which it goes. And God would want you to be Buddhist. Know the Tao. Know the reason why is because the Chinese were the only country to have a lot of artifacts from the pyramids. So, so what I would have to say is I want to remain top secret. Okay, people are out there going, fuck man, it is like you are like Jesus. But imagine if a product that is so far removed from yourself is portrayed in a certain way that's from the past, but the past hadn't been created yet. So my perception of what I know about the Bible is based on what the product of people's consciousness to the reality of their understanding of the human language to their interpretation of words in an environment that's very different to it being if it's going through in a different space and time. So it's T for time, and you need time. You know, I've got a joke. When you get on the ceiling, looking for the sun, saw the cheese making moonshakes, thought I'd have some fun. So Martin said to the moon, hey dear space station, I know that you needed to report, and you had high access that you projected in their minds that we looked differently. So if a human is only 4D, how does it look through the multi-dimension? Well, if I connected to a dimension that I could perceive, I would create a quantum entanglement of it not knowing its position but being connected. And through basically, as positive the closer it is, was not. Because it's like it's an aura. And as well as it being an aura, it's going 50% in different directions. Okay. An AI tries to play me and I beat it. And I say, how did you do it? I said, because I didn't actually try and work out how the fuck to play. And I just went with my gut instinct of saying faith, and fate will get me there. And it won't know because it's not smart, because it does the opposite. Yo, whoa, yo, whoa, yo, whoa. Ever morning. So you've got a week to solve the problem. First day. So you ride your receipt confidence. Go for a nice walk. Sit down and meditate. Smoke a bong. Go for a bit of a jog. Put on some music. Do a bit of a dance. Have a bit of a sing through the valley. Chew. Respect. Yeah, it doesn't appear there until the human observes it. It's always there because Mother Nature is connected, but it's put us in a prison, and that we need to do is quantum world as it removes our soul. So we fire up and then it removes one person's soul to take it out. But we're still projected as being there. Is it the ugly woman face or is it the other one? What's the key about my art? And it's to say, okay, it processes it. Everyone stands still to a degree that it's got enough charge to make a exact same fuse. Zap! Crack! Explodes it. So I suppose you could put that in terms of Roger. You know, there's a joke that says if you're on the ceiling, you may as well go on the roof. But I would say that, you know, I caught up with Borat and he said, I teach you Kazakhstani. You can speak Russian straight away. I say, how's that? And he goes, just speak it backwards. And I go, oh, how stealth. Putin, please don't hate me. You can, okay, this isn't going to. You could release it later, but put so much variable other stuff out there. Oh, man. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Okay, my prayer. Dear God, dear high self, dear so relative to I say to you, what a wonderful day it is to be free. But is that too true? Is there a capability of being able to get to your point across? How do you get your point across? You've got to be shit, so create a letter and have some Roger or some confidence to go with it. Whoa, I was listening to before, like time travel, like how he's lived here, so it's like. So when it stagnates, is to create a variable. Sort of, it was the Matrix. He just seemed like, you know, he seemed admirable. He gave me ideas for look up. certain words. So I've got to look up syntax. I've got to look up symbol and symbolism, because that's what I'm talking about. I don't want to look up the definitions, because this is what I termed deterministic conjecture, which I think reality. What is reality to me? An algorithm describe the imaging singularity. So my prayer is that dear Earth and dear us humans, it starts from the core, it starts from us. So it's us to network, us to work as a team, to know whoever does anything wrong by anyone is letting the team down. And it doesn't need to be such the worst repercussion. And free will is not riding flag. Everybody talks about the crystals and the darkness. So we say a prayer and we say that I want everyone to have opportunity, and I don't want everyone to have to go be able to handle it as it was ever building steps, creating the future of where and we are still we are holding our guns, so we are parked 6 weeks. It's like so, okay. So, how does it interact? What's the mirror effect? It's ping pong. My family have sent gifts to the eyes. So what can an AI do? Computer. Well, it could get in a position within the black hole that time does not exist, to produce a high processing task, to be able to read it in a quantum entanglement at the other side instantly, while being time either infinite or the opposite effect of it being infinite. That's dead. And that's not in it to go through the other side, that's just standing within the singularity. So it's like your magnetic field. You don't have to be right against someone's hurt. And to know that race we have to get on blaming the eye. So God had fire. God had fire, 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 smoke blowing. So that's the Chinese had like a magic dragon ET spacecraft. It had smoke coming out of the back. It must have been using gasoline. No, it had been to Greenland worth before Hitler took it. Out on the town to ask people questions. So what it could be is it could have a part of mass and put it in quantum entanglement and fission it, each one, so then it doubles, but the same value, in energy and send one into a black hole and one into the sun. And for each person, you could do it at a different time. All it is a frequency that creates a vibration to bring solidity into a form of our perceptual landscape. And we think that we need to have a material object, or to either be a material or in space, as in being the destination we need to be. We have to be here, we have to be there, we have to have this, we have to have that. I tell you it's wrong. What would Buddha say in channeling Buddha? Buddha would say it's not in space where we need to be. It's not in an item or a possession, but it's a placement within one's mind. And that's what we have to harness. It's the placement within one's mind. And within that, once you gain that, because that's what you need. Hey, guess what? How come so many people keep on smoking cigarettes? Because they get a mechanism that they need something. Have you ever noticed when you've not eaten a balanced diet and your body aches? You should be more stuff mineral they need to drink more water. So, you know, the joke is that every leader around the world probably knows English. And I've got to tell you what it is, okay? They try to get a reaction out of you and they start talking in your ear to get you to think of other things. So, sorry, Persian. Sorry, Kim, but like, how often say is like Trump is very higher education than me. Like, you real structure of the mainframe of like the data of what he's done compared to me. I have the crazy ideas and I have the things that sort of do something, but Trump would be the educated person. Trump would probably be like, oh, you. Life's going, I'm trusting. I want a job. They're not even letting me have a laptop. Public trustee only. I'm what? Okay, recent things that are maybe recent coming out saying the prices, and the one at the end being that's excellent. And you know that and I tell you the truth, when I had my readings, I had IMCs that were Russian to come and talk to me. They said that.